Also, by the way, that people said that they need some awesome protection paladin in, you know, like 2.8k. They transferred and they've invited me. Just want to say I'm super busy, and it looks like we are going to have the first round of another versus Flynn, and you know, this is all good because I don't know who we've got on the other team.
I think we can expect this one to go on for ages. Yeah, that's the only thing we can be sure of.
All right. Yeah, well, I don't think it's going to go on for ages. I think that another is definitely playing a disadvantage. I think that the ability to kind of win this one is going to be hard. Yeah. Flynn has probably had to, like, he's probably lost his spell pen because he doesn't need to kind of put that pet in Novas. And one thing of playing a mage versus those pets, and I wish this UI works, but look at this button, by the way. Look at that. Don't know what's going on there.
There's even more features, actually, with this UI. Yeah. It's great.
There's more features than it not working, but we kind of got it working to the best of its ability, and I probably should go buy a mount at some point. All right, then, so Frost Ward's going to go up, and already we see a Chains of Ice. There comes an early Ice Block, actually. I'm not sure what that was used on. Maybe another actually used Anti-Magic Shell, so he could have done a lot of damage and would have been able to control it. So that's an interesting Ice Block used there already, and we're actually going to have targeting on the pet. We do have a Chains of Ice. That was kind of going off the pet. There comes an AMZ, and another just kind of sits there. Sorry, he was actually in a block at the time, or a deep freeze. And now you go. Flynn's going to be pulled in, and he's most likely going to... He looked like he blinked over earlier. I'm going to be taking a little bit of damage. And Flynn has actually lost like hardly any health at the moment. Let's switch over to another. He's still up on 23k. Flynn's going to go invisible right now. He's actually using... mage armor there to mitigate some of the damage from the pet, so quite a nice move. And MIs are up. There comes the second anti-magic shell. In comes a death coil, and Flynn's going to use his second ice block. So another's done a pretty good job, but this is going to be dangerous. And here comes the deep freeze, and here comes the damage. He hasn't got AMZ up. He can sacrifice his pet, and he does do so. There comes the death grip in, and Flynn's going to get away. He will be able to slow another down. Flynn is still looking seamlessly unhurt there, but that's actually because it hadn't been updating. He's actually down to half HP right now, but it's another that's under fray, and he is trying to move away, and in comes a blessing of sacrifice from a paladin named Gukchi, and that's going to pretty much... I do think that probably... I mean, this one, that heal at the end, I'm not sure how that went through, but Flynn's obviously, you know, probably would have had mana gem, whether or not he used it, and we are going to have another game over. And Sean, you look confused, but that wasn't you. All right, then, so...
What the hell happened there? What the hell happened there?
Well... What happened versus another, because, you know, a couple of the best players in the world facing off versus each other, and well, you know, last matchup was very, very good for another. This one was, you know, Flynn obviously kind of did dominate the Warlock, really. I don't think there was anything that Inflame was really going to be able to do. So we are going to go back in, and we are going to be on Dala and Sewers this time, so we are going to have the ability, well, they're going to have the ability to kind of kite round, and you can imagine another's going to want to kind of position himself over by the boxes, try and pull in bad situations, see if he can avoid, if he can actually move fast enough to get away from kind of shatter combos. But obviously if you're in that situation, that's bad. A couple of these guys will get kicked out of the sewers, but we do have them both mounted up. That's going to be another on the far side. And look at this, the UI works. It's amazing. I had to put a capital letter in front of his name. The game is on, and I could probably zoom in as well just to be awesomely cool, but we'll have to see how my camera skills go. So Flynn not wanting to start anything just yet. I think zooming out actually is better for me anyway. And there comes the first Chains of Ice, and actually that Frostbolt or Ice Lance did land. And we are going to have a very slow. And you can see the debuffs that they have here. And also down at the bottom, you can see the cooldowns there. So you can see the Ice Barrier is on cooldown. You can see the Frost Ward is on cooldown. So you can follow the cooldowns and what's happening. And also the debuffs actually from last game, that one that's not going to be happening there. There comes a Chains of Ice and a Deep Freeze on the pet. And you can see that Lichborn is now going to be used. And there comes a Death Grip from another as over this side. We're going to be blinked away. In comes an improved encounter spell as well. And now more damage onto another as he gets down to about 66% HP. And he has actually used his Gargoyle at the moment, trying to do as much damage to Flint as possible. That Gargoyle is actually not going to have line of sight on Flint at the moment. And there comes the invisibility. So Gargoyle was actually targeting the pet. He's got MIs up, and so the fight's pretty much going to be reset. The pet is going to stop bandaging on another, though, and he's going to try and come back out to fight. And you can see Flyn there now holding center ground. There comes a death coil. In comes an anti-magic shell used, and there comes a death grip in. So Flyn's going to be able to blink away, but another, if he wanted to, can line of sight this situation. He's still got his pet and the ability to kind of sacrifice a little bit later. Icy Veins is now used by Flyn, and another still kind of 70% HP mark, still doing quite well. I'm going to just move behind Flyn now. Cold Snap has been used, so here comes the second pet. Just being able to see what he can see. And pet will be on him. No Gnaw at the moment, just making sure that these HPs are correct. And it does look like he's actually lost more on that. He's actually down to only 11k. So Flyn not at full HP whatsoever at the moment. I'm going to actually blink off to the other side of the map. Another there, as you can see him in unit frames from the in-game, is doing far better on the health. But Flyn, anti-magic shell up. He gets pulled in. Anti-magic shell from another. He actually waited for that to pull Flyn in, and in comes an ice block. Pet actually still taking some damage. 12k. Flyn, 11k. Another right now, 24k. Double the HP as they fight behind. No AMZ available for him, though. Desecration, and pet will go down, and Flyn has gone to the other side of the arena, playing this one very, very seriously, and in comes the Eva Cake, and that's going to bring him up. So here comes a chase. There comes a Strangulate onto Flyn. Also Chains of Ice. He's going to be caught in Desecrate. There comes an AMZ, and he hasn't used his blink yet. There comes the blink, and he's got some pretty big distance on this, but he is going to be struggling now. Pet is going to be on him. There comes a Cone of Cold to slow it down, and another will actually run as he is going to be in combat. And Flyn, there comes an Ice Barrier, and now he's in a real bad situation now, as another is going to sit onto the back of him. Flyn dipping low, and there comes the kill, and another will take that one pretty nicely, and Flyn just says, okay, never mind, and it's going to be, well, we call it 1-1, well, we'll call it 1-0 and see how it turns up at the end.
I don't think another's going to be happy with that one decision at all, you know, whatsoever, but great game from him there. He played it to perfection, and, well, let's try and get into the second. Yeah,
and Flyn just even says there, okay, my joke, I'm not going to the pillar. So, stuff. And look, you can see that, look what I did there. That's another, and that was Flyn. And currently another's doing very, very well. And just to remind you that there's 10k gold up for grabs, and another, you know, is the best Death Knight we've seen in Arena to date.
Absolutely.
And why are you smiling, Sean? What's going on in your in-game chat?
We just jumped on a mammoth, and which is Silas Mammoth, I think, and yeah, we're sitting all on it.
Alright, I'm going to be mounted for this on my awesome mount. Alright then, so here we go then. It's going to be round 2. And currently another only needs 2 more to win. We might only get to do 1 duel, and we do actually have Decis waiting to duel as well. And, whoops, I wanted to type go there, but I seem to have mounted up, as I didn't hit, and I think I've unbound my talk key. Alright then, so Flyn throwing out an Ice Lance. And we'll have to see if we can get updates. There we go. And they are going to be refreshed. So 30k versus 22. And it's also good to add that Flyn actually has the kind of access to like basically all the PvE gear that he wants. And maybe at some point I'll inspect him and show you what he's using. And another just really wanting to play by, you know, being able to kind of line of sight any time that he wants to trinket or anti-magic shell and get out of range. And there comes the opener then from another, going to put some pressure onto Flyn. He is actually going to blink away. He's going to go for a polymorph. That is actually going to be line of sighted. You can see there by the cast bar that didn't actually go off. And he is going to go invisible. There comes a Death and Decay. That actually is going to miss. No, it did actually connect. It looked like the pet was still on him. And now Flyn finds himself in a really bad situation, in my opinion, because he's strangulated. He's got nowhere to go to kind of line of sight. And that Gargoyle is going to be kind of doing a lot of damage. There comes a Frostward up again. In comes Mirror Image. Now, Frostbolt onto another. That's going to be going through an AMZ. Not going to be doing that much damage right now, but it actually does put another down to 70%, using 2 Death Coils back to back there, and now a Chains of Ice. But still, he's being able to channel a Frostbolt. He's got a Cone of Cold off after a Deep Freeze as well. Icy Vein used, Mana Shields up, Frostward back up again, and another Anti-Magic Shell just in time, and that's going to help him tremendously. He is actually, we do actually have it correct health. He is actually going to have to sack his pet. No, pet not sacked. I'm not sure how he's been able to get his health back unless something crazy happened. I'm looking for gangsters. Where are the gangsters? Okay, no gangsters. All right, and but still though, taking a lot of damage. And honestly, Flynn looks like he is going to be able to take this one, especially if that Frostbolt comes through. There comes finally the pet sacrifice. Another is trying to head to the corner of the tomb. Oh, and that was that would have been a pet freeze to be able to land that. I doubt he's going to be that unlucky. Nice arcane missiles there as well through, and in comes the evocation. In comes first aid. Frostbolt is going to be channeled, going to leave him at 4.8k, and honestly, he's just going to get destroyed in a moment. What kind of damage can he put out? So many cooldowns are still, the simple ones are still available with just one Nova, one improved counterspell. And there's going to be no Strangulate. In comes a Frostbolt followed by a Deep Freeze. Nice combination, and another will go down. And look, this UI is amazing. Loser and winner. 1-1.